Hi, I'm Dave Birkett, Michigan football beat writer for AnnArbor.com, back with my colleague Mike Rothstein for another Michigan football preview. Mike, we're going to talk about the Michigan-Indiana game today, homecoming, big game Saturday. But before we get into that, let's take a quick look at the Big Ten race. Michigan 3-0 surprised a lot of people, I think, with their 3-0 start. Do you think the Wolverines are a player in the Big Ten race?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at how they've played, and you look at what's going on in the rest of the league, you have to believe that they're at least a player. Maybe not the favorite, absolutely not the favorite, but they are a contender, probably a dark horse contender to win the league behind Penn State and Ohio State. But you have to like what you've seen out of them so far. And when you look at other teams in the league, you look at Wisconsin, which has struggled a little bit, even though they're 3-0. Indiana's very, very paper 3-0. They're not going to be a player in the league race. Iowa almost lost to FCS, Northern Iowa, in the opening game of the year. You know, 2 blocked field goals in the last second saved them. You look at some of the other teams. Purdue lost to Northern Illinois at home. You look at some of those things, and you're just like, well, yeah, why can't Michigan be a player?
No, and I think it depends on what your definition of player or contender is, because, again, I don't think Michigan is going to win the Big Ten. You know, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility they make it to, say, the Outback Bowl, January 1st Bowl. But I think Penn State and Ohio State, despite their struggles, are still the class of the Big Ten. You mentioned Indiana 3-0, but I agree with you. They're a real paper 3-0. They're not a real contender in the Big Ten. We're going to see them this week. Any chance that Michigan loses? Any chance of an upset this weekend?
There's always a chance. It's college football. I mean, look at Appalachian State a couple years ago. That said, it would take a lot. I mean, essentially, Middleton and Curlew, the 2 defensive ends from Indiana, the 2 best players Indiana has, would have to harass Tate Forcier, maybe knock him out of the game, you know, force Denard Robinson to play a lot. That's, I think, how that happens. But again, I just can't see that happening. I think Michigan's too talented on both sides of the ball, and yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think Indiana has to get something from that pistol offense. Kind of a sort of like the spread, but it's a downhill running style rather than the Rich's spread option read offense. The one thing I will say, Michigan has, I think it's 15 straight they beat Indiana now. They haven't lost at home since 1967. So if you're an Indiana fan, it's going to be an uphill battle. I've got Michigan winning as well. I think it's going to be a blowout, regardless of how healthy Brandon Minor is. I know Michigan's playing with a new center this week, but I think Michigan wins at the end of the day, 38-10.
Yeah, I went with 45-10 last week in the game against Eastern Michigan, and almost got it on the nose, 45-17. I'm going to go with 45-10 again. I just like the way Forcier plays. I think he's going to rebound and have a better game this week, and they're going to want to put this game away early because they're going to want to rest for next week against Michigan State and what could be a desperate Michigan State team if they lose at Wisconsin.
That's right. I don't think we're going to see any sort of hangover from last week. I think we're going to see a good effort out of Michigan State, looking ahead to that Michigan State game. Again, I'm Dave Birkett.
I'm Mike Rothstein.
And we'll be back next week to talk Michigan State on AnnArbor.com.